Hello and welcome to Team PokeMart, your one-stop shop for the things that you need to stop and or shop for. Your source for potions, repels, and just everything Pokemon. And I hope you didn't have too much trouble getting inside, what with all of the Beedrill swarming around lately. Upper management says it might be because I'm not disposing of rubbish properly. But I mean, seriously, what more am I supposed to do? I put the rubbish in a bin and then once a week I put that bin into a bigger bin. It's a farce. Rubbish is a farce. And really, they're only blaming me because we don't have the money to hire a Pokemon exterminator to deal with all of the Beedrill nests and abundance of Weedle that are now infesting the store as a result. So here's what we're gonna do. I have a clever solution because basically we have a half price sale on Pokeballs now and you could just, do your old pal Liam a favor and go and catch some for me. It would be excellent training for your current party. Seriously, there's heaps, oh god, there's a lot of them. And if Beedrill are too frightening for you, well then you're in luck because their offspring Weedle and Kakuna are also everywhere. And oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm unloading all of my problems onto you. My sincerest apology, so please take this promotional Team PokeMart subscribe button as an apology. It's a pretty nifty thing because if you click it, then you will be updated when Team PokeMart creates more content here on the old YouTube. And better yet, it's free. Now that is a good kind of deal if you ask me, and I know that you didn't ask me, but I'm just going to pretend you did. Great. But if you were perhaps interested in helping me with my bug problem, then I can definitely give you some information on the Weedle line. And I promise you these Pokemon may seem like pests in the wild, but under the companionship of a trainer, they are an awesome bug poison addition to any team. And the Weedle line starts with, well, Weedle, the hairy bug Pokemon, which is a weird title because this thing literally has no hair. Look at this, not one hair. Who wrote this title? I bet it was a professor, overpaid pompous pricks. But Weedle is a caterpillar-esque creature with its body composed of many circular spheres with teeny tiny pink nubs for its feet or arms and feet. It's many, many arms and feet. And matching these little tootsies is a big pink nose, which helps a Weedle use an excellent sense of smell to sniff out the most delicious of leaves. And we just happen to sell salad bags here, which now contain actual salad rather than just being a bag to put your own salad in. So you could help your potential new catch out by buying some of our Team PokeMart salad, and there is loads to choose from. Some even come with dressing. You'd be spoiling it rotten. These pink features contrasting against the brown base of color is used to ward off any incoming predators. Don't let its cutesy demeanor so far fool you though, as Weedle has two large stingers, one on its head and the other on its behind. These stingers are known to be very toxic, so beware. Weedle will, despite being a tiny 1 foot tall, defend itself with this needle. And remember folks, size doesn't matter, it's what you do with the tools that you have been given. Also, every person I've ever dated has attempted to reassure me. Still not quite sure about that one. But Weedle is one of the very first Pokemon you will come across in the original Generation 1 games, being found in the Viridian Forest on Route 2, which are pretty close to Pallet Town, making it the perfect partner for a new trainer who is still learning the ropes. And this especially reigns true when you take into consideration just how quickly this line evolves. And once reaching level 7, Weedle will then evolve into a Kakuna. And there's not too much to say about this one appearance-wise other than it's a Weedle in a cocoon, or chrysalis if you want to get all fancy. Its once tiny cute eyes and pink nose, gone. Replaced with angry eyes and no nose. But it does now sport a golden yellow chrysalis. And it's quite funny, the front of its new shell does look like a little business tie, implying that it actually became a successful businessman and did not end up in a mid-management retail position. But since Kakuna is encapsulated in a shell, it has very little to no movement, and it has to depend on its hardened technique, which as the name implies, makes him hard. This is pretty much the only thing that Kakuna found in the wild can do, since they don't have a trainer who can teach them any attacks. Inside of this cocoon, Kakuna has a stinger in the same place as Weedle, which it can push outwards if it really needs to defend itself and use Poison Sting. Otherwise, Kakuna is essentially just lounging around under bushes or clinging its body to trees, just, waiting to evolve. And of course, you can speed this up by leveling it up, my favorite way of which would be having Kakuna in the first slot of your party and just switching it out with a stronger, better Pokemon once in battle. And some would say that you should avoid touching a Kakuna shell, for it can be pretty hot, indicating the busy workings that are going on inside, preparing Kakuna's body for its next evolution, which occurs at level 10, which keen mathematicians will note is only 3 levels later, but at this point, Kakuna will evolve into a Beedrill. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the only reason why you would ever consider catching a Weedle. Beedrill is the definition of intimidation. Its body is now that of a terrifyingly gigantic wasp, and not just any wasp in particular. It's highly likely that Beedrill's design is inspired by giant Indian hornets. It still has its rear stinger, only it's now yellow to match its yellow and black striped body, and whilst it does lose its forehead stinger, it now gains 2 huge pricks on its arms. And I suppose this is where its name comes from, Bee and Drill. Beedrill, because its arms vaguely resemble giant drills, although these stingers are all very venomous. However, the one on its butt that has been with it ever since it was Weedle is proven to be the most venomous of all three. Beedrill also has the move Twin Needle, which is an obvious reference to its twin needles, and this used to be exclusive to Beedrill. However, in later games, it is now shared with Escavalier. Its eyes are now red, and that makes you think danger just by looking at it, which is probably a good thing if you ever saw one in the wild, and by wild I mean currently infesting a certain Team PokeMart store. But Beedrill are incredibly aggressive and territorial, so it is advised that you stay well away from their nests unless you are prepared for battle. These bad boys can fly at some pretty insane speeds, and when in the wild, they also tend to fly in swarms. I think any new trainer having this on their team early in their adventure would surely be a force to be reckoned with. Maybe. I mean, bug poison dual type Pokemon are the perfect weapon to use against grass types, so it would be worth getting one if you have any grass gyms coming up in your journey. However, we do not stop with Beedrill, as when Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire became a thing, Beedrill joined the Mega Evolution Squad, and it can now utilize another evolution by giving it Beedrillite to hold, thus becoming Mega Beedrill. And Mega Beedrill's design becomes more sleek, and its lower body honestly reminds me of a, what's the word? Oh my god, what is it? A screwdriver handle. Yeah, that's the thing. Wow, that was worth saying. Its existing arm stingers now have a cup to them, much like a traditional fencing or jousting sword would have to protect the hand. Mega Beedrill also gains two extra stingers on its legs, only these ones are striped grey, black, and yellow. Its eyes become more elongated, curving upwards, which adds to an overall cyborg-esque look. And a Mega Beedrill will use all 5 of these stingers to repeatedly stab at its prey, quite violently I might add, and using the most venomous stinger on its butt to deal the final blow, in what can only be described as a highly insulting death. And you know, I sort of wish that its typing had changed to incorporate steel into the mix, maybe in place of poison, since it does give off a somewhat robotic look now. What with the shape of its body and the black and white yellow striping, I mean, it just looks like some kind of machine, a machine oozing with power. But I can't complain, its design is fantastic, and the typing isn't so bad so long as you aren't facing off against poison, steel, or ghost Pokemon, in which case you are f***ed. But moving on to some prominent members of this line, the most well-known appearance of the Weedle line is in the very beginning of the Pokemon anime, being episode 4, Challenge of the Samurai, where basically Ash and Misty navigate through the Viridian Forest, where Ash attempts to catch a Weedle, but gets distracted by a boy in samurai gear asking for a battle. This battle is then interrupted as a swarm of angry Beedrill chase them away, causing Ash to leave behind his Metapod. The Beedrill then take the Metapod captive, and the rest of the episode is Ash trying to sneak in and get Metapod back, only to be thwarted by Team Rocket's typical shenaniganry. And in the episode, the bug stops there. Ash even catches a Beedrill during a bug catching contest, but he doesn't hold on to it for too long as he gives the Pokemon to another trainer, Casey, who is a fan of yellow and black striped Pokemon. In fact, her theme song is probably the hit Wiz Khalifa song Black and Yellow, or failing that, the Sam Sparrow classic Black and Gold. As for gym leaders, there is only one bug type gym leader who uses Pokemon from this line, being Bugsy, the Azalea Town gym leader, who uses, for whatever reason, a Kakuna on his team in Gold, Silver, and Crystal. This Kakuna then follows him into Heart Gold and Soul Silver. However, when you do rematch Bugsy, his Kakuna is nowhere to be seen. In fact, weirdly enough, his entire team has been replaced. Meanwhile, in Pokemon Stadium 2, Bugsy's Kakuna makes a return as a Beedrill, which is pretty interesting because his Metapod still has yet to evolve. Lazy bug. And a less well-known appearance would be in the Pokemon manga, being Green's Weedle, who she once upon a time offered to Red, hoping to get his Butterfree in exchange. I mean, what a horrible deal that would have been. It's almost like exchanging a Butterfree for Eradicate. I mean, what kind of fool would do that? Some more fun facts about the Weedle line. There's only one Pokemon who cannot learn any normal type moves, and that, dear customer, is a poor little Weedle. It's also one of the few Pokemon who cannot learn any moves via TM or HM. That's right, you heard correctly, any moves. And I'm starting to feel kind of bad for this thing, although thankfully you're highly unlikely to ever actually use a Weedle in battle, and if you do, then well, that's your fault. Meanwhile, we also have some interesting move related information for Kakuna, as apparently it can learn Bug Bite, even though its mouth is inside its shell, making the bite part of that a very difficult thing to achieve. And heading back into the anime now, Kakuna is shown to evolve more than any other Pokemon in the entire span of the series, largely thanks to the fact that we have been shown several groups evolving on multiple occasions. Beedrill's French name, D'Artagnan, is a reference to the French word for string, dard, and also potentially the character D'Artagnan from the Three Musketeers, most likely because of its spear-like arms. Or perhaps I just made that up. Who are you to to tell me otherwise. And finally, a truly useless fact, Beedrill's official name was almost spelt with only one L, but it was then changed to have two L's because that's how English works. And there you have it, the ins and outs of these fantastic Pokemon. I hope I've somehow convinced you into catching some of the copious Weedle, Kakuna, or Beedrill hanging around the store, and thus saving my job. Now remember, we have some really great offers on Pokeballs, Premier Balls, and even some antidotes for the admittedly highly likely scenario that you will get poked by their vicious stingers. But please do stop by to say hi, which you can do in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, then please do go and check out some of our other content on the site here, and better yet, even subscribe to receive regular updates for all of our new stock. Don't forget to hit that notification bell either, because why not? What's it gonna cost you, like half a second? Just do it. But for now, this has been Team PokeMart, and we'll see you next time.